And here we go. We are live. We're back in the building. Do you still watch wrestling? Featuring myself, your host and presenter, Dashiki Dash, and my co-host in the building, Kojo.
Come on.
What's good, my brother? We're back.
I'm good, man.
We're trying to keep this as consistent as possible.
Yes. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. So firstly, I was enjoying that little jingle from the countdown. Let me not lie. I was enjoying that. That's slightly a vibe. But hey, listen, now I'm good. Obviously, last week we didn't do it because I was out of commission. I was gone. The cold got me, or flu. I think it's more of a flu. Took me out. So, and if you want to know how bad it was, I on the Monday stupidly recorded 3 in midfield. Go listen to that episode. Yeah, that was a doozy. That was a doozy. But yeah, I'm good, man.
The show must continue, though, bro.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. With all that we do in terms of content creating, and we're lumped in with this World Cup as well, so it's just all up in the air, all over the place. But you know, we continue. We try to move as swiftly as we can. But you know, in the midst of that, we're still wrestling heads. We still got to get our wrestling fix. If you didn't watch our first episode, we basically just introduced our feature on a weekly basis in regards to wrestling. Do you still watch wrestling? As you can see, myself and my co-host here, Kojo, we are still wrestling heads. We still watch wrestling, and we're just trying to bring that vibe to you guys this week. So we left off last week with not really going through our Mount Rushmore, like our favorite wrestlers. How do you want to break this down? Do we do it like, you want to do 4 or 5?
Ooh, let's go 5. I think 5 is
nice. Round up for 5.
Yeah, that's what's 5. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, if you don't know the Mount Rushmore is obviously the in America, you got the president's heads on a mountain, and that's basically the feature of the best presidents ever. So we're gonna do it in a wrestling way. Our favorite wrestlers of all time. We're gonna break it down. I don't know who wants to go first. You wanna go first with this one?
You know, should we, as in I just do all my 5, or do you want to do like 1, 1, 1, 1 kind of thing?
Let's go. We'll go back to back. We'll go back to back. Then we can kind of break it down a bit.
Okay. All right. Oh shit. I'll go first then. Damn.
Okay.
Okay. My first one's quite easy for me. So my first certified member of the Mount Rushmore is John Cena.
Okay.
John Cena as a person transcends past wrestling in terms of, you know, movie star now, you know, hosting TV shows, branding, sort of like what The Rock's doing as well. You know, The Rock's obviously to a bigger scale. He's the biggest movie star in the world, arguably, I think. But in a wrestling sense, look, John Cena kind of peaked at an awkward time where the product or the aim of the product was changing, and the fans didn't know how to deal with that because they had this edgy TV show where, you know, it's Attitude Era, and even when they were transitioning slowly to the PG era, you still had stuff like Edge and all his crazy antics. You had Kane burying his brother, you know, and kidnapping Lita.
So that was like the ruthless aggression era, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Ruthless aggression, then PG,
and then went to the PG. But it was like they were trying to have that ruthless aggression era, but also sort of start doing stuff for the kids, and it was very awkward. But he went into a situation where, yes, before him, there were times where wrestlers would be cheered and booed at the same time by the crowd. But his one was to the point where the boos were just actual pure hatred of not even a character anymore, just him. It was just him. And then the love was also because it was just him. And then people didn't know how to take that. And I think the one thing that I love about his era and what he's done is, you know, we're now in this reality era. If you're talking about WWE, even talking about AEW and everything else, they try to be as real as it gets. They go and do promos, and they talk about what happened in the past when they met a certain person, or, you know, what's happening backstage and why dog and all that. and he sort of ushered that in because he went from being the rapper to the what was he call himself, the chain gang soldier,
The chain gang, Doctor of
the
Thugonomics.
doctor of thugonomics. You know what I'm saying? And then he became the leader of the C Nation. That's when it became proper, you know. And yeah, he just ushered through that. But all in that as well, he beat legends, The Rock, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker. That was more the Word Life era rather than, because I remember the other one they had a match and Undertaker was just kicking his ass all over, and of course the squash match at WrestleMania. But the guy's legacy for me, he's the greatest of all time. And it doesn't have to be about technical wrestling. I know he's not. I don't know if we can say. Well, actually, no, we're not WWE. We can say his name, but he's not Chris Benoit. He's not Kurt Angle. He's not, Shawn Michaels, or Bret Hart. But he's a wrestler that will have people boo him, and then at the end they'll stand there and be like, "Okay, I respect this guy." And it gradually became a thing where it's like, "No, you know what? Seen as undeniable. We love him." Big Match John, shout out JBL for that one. Rivalries with Brock Lesnar, and what he did to Roman Reigns, the schooling, that's what, for me, helped Roman Reigns really find his niche eventually, and then obviously make the key move, which was working with Paul Heyman. Is that John Cena was urging him to bring something, out, and yeah, man, the guy, I think he's responsible for what wrestling is now, in terms of how real the approach of other wrestlers is. He changed the game.
I think we touched on this on the last episode in regards to the wrestling and the characters, even down to the wrestling names. You got the Undertaker and the Big Show and the Rock, but then now we've got John Cena and like real names. And I do believe in and around when John Cena came to fruition in WWE is when he ushered the reality aspect to wrestling. So yeah, man. Okay, you got your John Cena there. Okay, over to me.
Go on. I want to hear this.
I'm gonna start with my obvious ones and then usher into ones where maybe most people might not pick. So my obvious one, I'm gonna go straight off the bat, The Rock. Okay. For me, The Rock epitomized swag, coolness. I'm talking about down to the Versace shirts, the slacks, the Gucci loafers. One of my favorite. If you've seen me on my Instagram, I'm always flashing up some old wrestling clips. One of my favorite people's elbows of all time is when The Rock gives, I think it was British Bulldog.
Yeah.
Having beef with Triple H, whatever. British Bulldog is obviously caught in the melee. British Bulldog's on the canvas. The Rock does his signature sign to do the people's elbow, goes to one side of the ropes, goes to the other, and before he approaches, he slides with his Gucci loafers, then hits the you ain't getting no one as cool as that, especially within that kind of era, attitude era. He epitomized that attitude of being like a boss, from being a blue chipper with his curly hair and not really finding his way as Rocky Maivia, then moving to the Nation of Domination, under the watch of Farouk. Farouk was the leader of the nation, but he was a star from the beginning, and it was going to be very, very hard for The Rock to be kept down, especially as soon as he started touching the mic. And I truly believe, that he I wouldn't say that he's the greatest of all time when it comes to the mic skills, but he definitely elevated it from where it was to the smack talk. Like really, telling someone that you are going to lay the smack down and all that kind of talk and all the kind of jargon and the rhyming and all that kind of stuff. Like he made me want to be a wrestler. And I with the lack of representation. You know, we didn't have many wrestlers of color, black, or just non-white, basically. So when you're looking at The Rock, you're thinking, right, man, like, I've got someone that I can look at and be like, this is my guy. You know what I mean? The jabroni eating pie, eating. If you smell what
a poet.
All of that, and there's not many people mention things like this, but even down to the music, like his music. Like from the nation right to his own. Do you smell what The Rock is cooking? If you smell what The Rock is cooking, like I literally used to buy the WWE CDs just to be able to play The Rock's music over and over and over again, and pretending to be The Rock, raising the eyebrow. So for me, man, The Rock, he definitely has to go in number one in terms of like my pick as my one of my greatest of all times, man. So that's my first pick, The Rock.
Hey, listen. I'm not mad at that because The Rock, firstly, poet, an absolute poet. Man said I'm going to lay off the Smackdown on all your candy asses. Listen, that's poetry. That's poetry.
Oh man, he's got so many moments, man.
Honestly, and my favorite one. So simple. What is your name?
Oh, my name is. It doesn't matter what your name is.
And that people already talk about is. The reason why I find that so iconic is because in the same match when it was Triple H and British Bulldog, that's when he did it doesn't matter if The Rock counts to 3. I'm like, yo!
Yeah, like 1, 2, it doesn't matter. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Bruv, nah, you know what? I respect it because to be honest, you're talking about the mic. If I'm being honest, for me personally, the only person that can really compete with him on the mic, and we've had immeasurable, crazy mic talkers, but for me, he's top 2 alongside Paul Heyman.
Yeah, he's definitely up there. He definitely
so
mic
that's
skill. Because obviously you've still got the golden era, which was the traditional kind of screaming and ranting type of, when I get you in the ring, brother, like, you know what I mean? So he moved away from that to like a more calm, slow, talking, and it was more of a like, I'm above you guys. Like I am the young up and coming. He became intercontinental champion. He then became a multiple WWE champion, WCW champion, and he exuded that champion demeanor, and like I said, even with the clothes that he was coming in, this is the only guy that I was seeing that literally, I know we had the $1 Million Man, and he was the $1 Million Man. He had the money, had the belt, but The Rock looked like $1 million, man. Those Versace shirts that he changed week in, week out. Then he had that big Brahma Bull buckle that he had.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
From the sideburns to like his look as a wrestler and the character is just, for me, from time you feel like you want to be like somebody, he's done his job in terms of like conveying that character and making it larger than life.
Yeah. If I can quickly bring up as well, his heel run just before he left after the Goldberg beef.
The Hollywood one.
Yeah.
Hollywood
see that
Rock.
one, yeah. You see that one, yeah. Now, let me tell you something here. When I started watching WWE properly from, let's say, 2000, 2001, right? So when he came, and I didn't get to watch the No Way Out pay-per-view, so I didn't hear his new song.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So when Eric Bischoff's in the ring talking about, I've got the biggest star probably in WWE history, I'm thinking, oh, okay. Then I hear, then I see the helicopter. I was like, hold on. Then I hear, it's cooking. I was like, hold on. What's this? I hear this slow beat, and I see a guy come out with sunglasses, all black drip, looking, for lack of a better word, sexy. Looking sexy, yes. Lack of a better word, just looking sexy. And he came out, and he's about to do his thing. He goes, finally, The Rock has come back to run his mouth. Oh no! I'm like, this guy's gone clear. He's gone clear.
That was that surpassed any heel, like, not to say heel turn, but him becoming a heel. He's been a heel on several occasions throughout his career, but that one was up there with one of his best.
Absolutely. And like, even though, it's the way he approached wrestlers. Like, obviously he still had the comedic effect, but it was the little differences. Like, the way he used to mock the Hurricane with he went, hold on, the Rock's phone's ringing. He goes, yeah, Cacao, hello, yeah, it's nothing. He says he knows you. Like, brilliant. What a man.
Yeah.
Honestly, what a man. What a man.
Definitely. All right, so that's one apiece. Your second, who you going with?
My second is Brock Lesnar.
Ooh, pew, 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 pew. Dun, 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 dun,
Dun, dun, dun. All
right.
So,
Brock Lesnar, definitely
Brock
a future Hall of Famer right there. Why Brock, man?
Because just like actually similar to The Rock as well, which I didn't give The Rock enough praise for. The Rock's run in WWE, main run in WWE, wasn't that long if you compare it to like your Randy Ortons and your Undertakers and the rest of them, right? John Cena. Yeah. But Brock Lesnar came in, and within a year was so, like, when the word over is used a lot in wrestling these days, because people feel like, oh, if you're a fan with the hardcore wrestling fans, the guys that watch every independent show and the New Japan Pro Wrestling, then you're over. But I'm like, you need to be really over with the casual fan as well. Like, you need to, and that's one thing that I feel like other shows outside WWE don't really get. It's like, yes, you can have the wrestling fans be there, but when there are shows in town, not everyone in the attendance is going to be a AEW or a Adam Cole or a Daniel Bryan fan, because even though those guys are great, you, as a casual fan, you want to come in knowing a name, a big name, and when you hear their music, that's when you get excited. Brock Lesnar,
he's got that.
He's got that. He can come in at any time and he gets a reaction. And it's like, it's more than anything, it's his IQ. Apparently he's had this IQ. Paul Heyman said in his DVD from, I think it was like 2016 or something, that Brock Lesnar's IQ from a young age was so high. Like, he said, you're not gonna leave me in the FCW anymore, because I'm damn good. Put me in the main roster and I'll show you how good I am. And it's the way he sold himself in the ring with Paul Heyman. Let Paul Heyman do the talking, but also sold things perfectly, whether it was offensive or on the defensive, getting his ass kicked and making people look good, and he's come back, and now this run right here has really put him onto my top 5, because it's like, I'm watching the guy and I'm thinking, there's
Cowboy Brock?
Cowboy Brock. I'm thinking there's not many people in this industry who can say that they haven't spoken on a mic much in their career, but when they grab a mic, they just know how to get things on the money.
Yeah.
Like, bro, he's not a long talker. He doesn't need to do a 10-minute promo. He can talk for 3 minutes and you just know something's going to go down, whether it's funny now with the Cowboy Brock thing or whether he's going to kick your ass. One promo that comes to mind that made me laugh so much is the what's his name? Heath Slater one.
Okay, yeah.
When Heath Slater comes to the ring and he's like, hey, listen, I need to fight you. I know you're gonna beat me up, but I need to fight you. I've got kids. I need to depend on me. And brother's like, I feel you, man. I've got kids. Come in here. Let's talk about your kids. I don't give a shit about your kids. And in that moment, you've gone from, oh my God, bro, let's just talk to you. Hey, yo, Heath, listen, get out now. Get out, because you know what's going to happen here. But more than anything, it's his knowledge of the business, and how a big man knows how to put the smaller guys and the bigger guys over. And a big part of that for me, especially with this run, is the fact that with Vince McMahon not in charge anymore, you've really got to see a more creative Brock. It wasn't an idea of sell certain things, suplex, overdo the Suplex City thing, F5 Game Over is more, interaction, it's more technical style, it's more delivery on the mic and in the ring. And I think his legacy will be one of the best ever because I don't think there's many people that get a business like him. I really don't think so. He's a moneymaker. He's an attraction. That's the key word. He's an attraction. We don't have many attractions in the business. He's an attraction. If Brock Lesnar's in town, I'm leaving work to go and find him. I promise you. I promise you. I think
this is what we said. This is what we said about AEW, innit? Like that they lack that attraction, as you said. I think that is a really brilliant phrase to use. An attraction, or that draw. We know that AEW's got brilliant wrestlers and stuff like that, but that's not always what pro wrestling is about. What wrestling entertainment is all about, it's wrestling entertainment. And I know that other organizations try to bring it back to like, we're trying to bring it back to pure wrestling, and then you're seeing all these sequences and stuff like that. But sometimes you just need straight up Brock Lesnar style kind of guys.
But bro, you see, this is the thing about and I don't want to turn this into taking a shot at the AEW and other companies, but it's like, firstly, what you said about rehearsal, Jesus Christ, watching a men do super kicks, drop kicks, and not selling anything, and then they stand and they do this, and the fans go crazy. I'm like, guys, I get it. They are athletes, they can do all of this, but the one thing they don't understand is there's literally no difference between, well, there is a difference, but for me, there's not much difference between being a pro wrestler and being a sports entertainer. They try and make that sports entertainer a bad word, and I don't have many Vince McMahon quotables that I like, but this one I like. It was an interview with Pat McAfee. He said, listen, anyone can be a pro wrestler. Some just do it really badly. When you become a sports entertainer, you are a wrestler, you're a professional wrestler, but you know how to entertain a crowd. You know how to make them watch you and say, I want to come back and see more. That's the difference. Because I'm telling you right now, bro, if I want to go and see a man do 59 drop kicks and not get injured once, I will go and watch, I don't know, Shaolin Soccer or something stupid. I don't care. I'm here to hear men talk on the mic and deliver, make me be drawn in and laugh and be angry and smile and everything. But then when they get to the ring, it doesn't feel rehearsed. It feels like a wrestling match. They're selling each other's moves, and they're not doing the finishers to each other 9 times before one finally delivers. Like, it should be game done after a finisher set. You got Mandem, I forgot their name. It's where Neville is now, or Pac, what his name is.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, they did just a trio at the same time. They did a tombstone pile driver, and the guy kicked out too.
So you taking what's meant to knock you out then?
Thank you.
I
love Chris Jericho. I love Chris Jericho, but apparently even the code breaker is not enough now. He has to do something. He has to do an elbow, Judas effect. I'm looking at him like, bro, these moves have got you over for years, and now suddenly, man, them are just crawling into the ropes real quick because the moves of Jericho is so no longer effective. I don't know why. Maybe because you're 60. I don't know, but it just doesn't make sense to me. I want to see an F5 twice, max 3 times if you're the Undertaker, because that's allowed, and that's it.
These days, even a sweet chin music super kick don't do nothing. So let alone like
you got Orange Cassidy winning titles with a Superman punch, but Roman Reigns has to do a Superman punch to get a 2 count. Allow it, man. Oh, man. Allow it.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar. Nah, definitely. I can't disagree with Brock Lesnar, and also, I'm not even to say to disagree, but I understand why you put Brock Lesnar in your list, and also he is definitely a future Hall of Famer. So rightfully so, man, to pick Brock Lesnar. My second one, I'm gonna just jump straight into it. This guy, pretty much anybody that has either watched wrestling in the past or you watch wrestling now, you would know this guy's name. Stone Cold Steve Austin. The beer drinking, the Mr. DTF, the SOB. Listen, this guy, and the crazy thing is, I appreciate him more now than I did then. Okay. So for me to put him in my list is because I really understand that WWE needed this guy to really bring that Attitude Era in its whole entirety, because he was the guy that was going against your boss. Every person that works or has worked for boss knows that you got that thought in the back of your mind that one day you want to just stone cold stunner your boss. And this guy was doing it week in, week out, beefing Vince McMahon, going against the grain, wasn't taking no bullshit from anybody. Vince McMahon even put him in a suit one time, and and Stone Cold came and warned him, like, listen, see this suit right here? Just know it's the last ever time you're gonna see me in this suit. I ain't no corporate suck up. And he just went against the grain, and then just the attitude that he just had that, real strut coming down the ring, didn't care about anybody. All he was about his business. And with Stone Cold, it was definitely during an era of transition from the golden era to the Attitude Era. Because you still had the likes of your Bret Harts and all those kind of people there, and then obviously Stone Cold's coming in, delivering the most raw and uncut stunners. This was pre-kicking you in your stomach, then giving you the stunner. This was just grabbing man by the neck and just yanking the neck and stunning them. And I just like that attitude that he had. And what I will give Stone Cold credit for is he kept WWF, WWE alive during the Raw and WCW Nitro Monday Night Raws, because obviously on that side you had Goldberg, on this side you had two bald guys basically. You had Goldberg on that side, you had Stone Cold. And I can't lie, man, there was a period of time I was watching a lot of WCW, but I always knew that Stone Cold is doing the madness over there. He's coming in trucks, he's coming with beer, drinking beer, he's taking no prisoners. And I just feel like he added that kind of super, how can we say, like super entertainer, athlete, wrestler, all in one, man, because he was just like literally just taking no prisoners when it came to wrestling. And he made you believe, like, if he hits you with that stunner, as most times it used to happen, you're done for. You're not getting back from that. And stomping a mud hole, and he was just one of those guys you just knew. And especially being from Texas as well, he personified like someone that would be from Texas, like proper redneck, just did not care about anything. And the reason why I picked him as well, it's not in any particular order, but the reason why I picked him alongside my first pick is I still believe till this day there is no real better kind of rivalry than Stone Cold and The Rock.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm talking about like ongoing rivalry. Like you just knew to yourself that these two guys, I don't know what it was between them, because there was other rivalries as well, but it's just The Rock and Stone Cold. They shared 3 WrestleManias, Stone Cold winning 2-1. Even a good thing about even Stone Cold allowing, but in terms of just like the storylines and stuff like that, The Rock finally got his chance, obviously, main event the WrestleMania with Stone Cold, and was able to win one WrestleMania. And for wrestling industry, WrestleMania is the pinnacle. It's like the Super Bowl, the World Cup of wrestling, and for you to be able to go and perform there, and yes, we know it's scripting and stuff like that, but just to be like, yo, I held a W on the biggest stage of it all, being able to perform with another top wrestler, there's no better feeling for these wrestlers. So Stone Cold, definitely, he's beef with McMahon. Oh my gosh, Stone Cold, when he went and saved Stephanie McMahon on that Undertaker cross.
Oh yeah.
Things like that, bro. Like, I'm telling you, there's so much that Stone Cold did. And definitely a worthy Hall of Famer in my eyes as well. And he's still obviously involved in wrestling right now with his podcast. He's still making appearance. He just recently, was it WrestleMania? Made his WrestleMania appearance. And supposedly he's not done yet. Apparently, after that little stint, he's saying that if there's room for a good creative way to get involved, and now with the likes of Triple H involved, the creativity is going to be on high. So, man, if he's able to make his another comeback in any kind of capacity, I didn't think he looked too shabby in doing the in-ring stuff as well. I think there's a perfect way to kind of merge that. He doesn't need to have a wholesale match, but if he's got anything that he can do to get involved, I would love to see it. And yeah, man, that's my second choice, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I love that. Honestly, I've got nothing to add to that. I just love that. Actually, I'll ask you a question. Did you take a side, The Rock or Stone Cold, when you were younger?
I was always The Rock.
Okay, funny enough, I was always Stone Cold.
I was always The Rock. And like I said, I didn't like Stone Cold back in the days. But to put him in my list, it shows I understood and just knew what he gave and what he was about. And I almost, when I watch stuff back and go through all the videos and stuff like that, I sit there and I think to myself, I didn't appreciate him at the time because I hated him. Like, this guy's always getting over The Rock. He's always champ. And I didn't like that. But then when you look back, I think to myself, what a superstar he was, man. The guy from stunning Steve Austin to then coming in. They tried a little stint with the $1 Million Man and giving him the title. That didn't work. And his breaking point was King of the Ring. And I just remember when I saw the stunner for the first time, he gave Savio Vega a raw stunner. Like I said, he just grabbed his neck and stunned him. And up until that point, I was like, I've never seen a move like this. Normally you're seeing like a submission holds or a slam or something of that kind. But this guy's coming with a cutter. And at that particular time, I've not seen any other style of cutters. Maybe DDP. Diamond cutter, but this one was just obviously a different variation. So I said, "Oh, this is a raw style of cutter," and yeah, man. Since then, I was just like, "Yeah, this guy's a superstar." But I didn't appreciate him beforehand, but learned to appreciate him afterwards.
What a man! What a man! Crazy. So when we get to my one, I'm gonna be because Stone Cold was part of my top 5. But I'm gonna try and not put him part of my top 5 to try and as some differentiation.
But he would be in your top 5, basically.
Yeah, he would. Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, yeah, well,
absolutely.
Okay.
But I'll try and do another 3.
Okay.
In there.
So third.
Well, by the way, this is not in any order.
No order for me either.
I don't think I'll put this guy underneath Brock Lesnar. I can't. And honestly, I don't know how to really talk about him. I'm just gonna say his name, The Undertaker.
Okay, before you go ahead, that he's definitely who I was gonna mention. So I'll piggyback off your one. So yeah, definitely. He will be my third as well. So you take it away.
Fair enough. For me, boy. Have you ever been scared of something? And when I say scared, to the point of terrified and just continue to do it or watch it. Listen, this guy scared the shit out of me to the point, where it got to a point where, like, I remember going back to years ago, maybe I was 4 years old, very, very early memories. But I remember sleeping in my mom's room on one occasion because we had visitors. And in the middle of the night, my eyes were open. And I swear to you, to this day, I still swear to you that I saw someone standing there with a hat and a jacket. I'm so sure. I'm so sure. So
what you're saying, you saw the Undertaker in your room?
Bro, to this day, I'm pretty sure I did. I'm still convinced this guy's evil. I don't care that I saw him on God's channel with Ted DiBiase. To this day, I don't care. I'm still convinced this guy, bro. I remember, just waking up. It must have been a bad dream, of course, but like I just remember opening my eyes and just feel like I see someone standing there looking at me, and I just woke up. My mom was like, "Mom." Although I did the same day in the evening, I still watched The Undertaker.
Of
I didn't
course you
care.
did.
The guy was just the phenom.
The
Like,
phenom.
for lack of I find it hard to describe him because I just have to say, just watch his career back. Like, it's you've got the Dead Man, you've got the American Badass, and really and truly, he really had two main characters. He didn't really go out of there. Of course, you want to go back to his career before WWE, of course, but as the Undertaker, he had two: Badass, Dead Man, and boy, none of them got boring. He was the only character for me that no wrestling fan can go onto Twitter, whether it was that era back then. Obviously, there was no Twitter back then, but if it was there in that era, and obviously this era now, no one can go on Twitter and say, "I've had enough of this guy. He's a good guy. He needs to be a bad guy now. Turn him heel." You can never criticize anything the Undertaker did, in my opinion, because everything worked perfectly. The Dead Man gimmick at first worked beautifully. The Ministry of Darkness worked sensationally. The corporate ministry was phenomenal. And then he came with the motorbike. You know, you hear the dong, you see the
American Badass.
You know what I'm saying? You see the children on the screen talking about him, and then he just pops out. He's wearing a bandana, he's got a long jacket, he's got glasses on, he's looking like a bad boy, and he's beating everybody up, choking everybody up to the sky and bringing them down.
Remember when he then bought the last ride into his arsenal of moves,
bro?
Man it's effectively a power bomb, but then he's hiking you up with your tights or your trousers, whatever he's wearing, for extra height.
And he's what, 7 foot? So he's taking to 8 foot. He said, "You're gonna go up, and I want you to see what's above you right now, because when you come down here, you ain't gonna like it." Shout out Nunzio, who did the whole the whole prayer. No, the guy was just, and all his comebacks as well just worked. That's the one thing that I really liked about him. Like, you know, it wasn't just come back and maybe be physical, drop an RKO. No shot to Randy Orton. Randy Orton's comebacks were great as well, but like drop an RKO or, you know, drop a spear or whoever, depending on who you are. Like, you talk about when that match against Triple H, the second one they had at WrestleMania, where they just stood in the ring. They didn't talk. They just stood there, looked at the sign, did the DX chop, and nothing else happened. I just there like, who else could do this? Honestly, who else could do that? I don't think there's anybody else that could do that. But my thing is, Undertaker's the only person that can do that by himself. I feel like if it was Triple H or someone else, you're gonna need dialogue. With the Undertaker, you don't speak because you know what WrestleMania is, and you know who is the king of WrestleMania. So when he stands there and looks at the sign, no words are needed. It's time to go. Simple as that, bro. There's still more I can say, man. But you go, man, because honestly,
I echo exactly everything that you've just said there. I'm gonna add in terms of his craftsmanship, in terms of his character. Before, like, we were into the reality era, we didn't know his name. It was just always Undertaker. This guy just made you believe that he was a real Undertaker. From making his debut, I believe it was Survivor Series.
Yes.
He's coming down dressed like an Undertaker. Then the period of time when there was two Undertakers, when the $1 Million Man went and bought a clone. That freaked me out because I was thinking to myself, two Undertakers. And then for me, I'm very big, and you'll get to know this about me. I'm just very big on the music, the theatrics, the ring walk. And when it comes to, even if it was to do like the greatest theme tunes of all time, this goes in any wrestling organization. The Undertakers, not only is it one of the most iconic and most recognizable theme tunes, it's probably one of the best theme tunes. From time you hear the gong and the organ piano and everything, Yeah, all of that. He's had so many variations. He's had with the fire with the druids. He's had memorable entrance walks in WrestleMania and Survivor Series and SummerSlam. Um, I can't speak highly of this guy, man, because and once again, it's just like as you grow older and you start then breaking down things like this and start recognizing like the theme tune, and you're noticing that subtle changes that Jim Johnson's been doing to the theme tune, and you're like,
Yes.
hey, you've just jazzed it up, or like
Mm.
the Ministry of Darkness version, the corporate ministry version, and then all the other versions of Undertaker that he's had, and he's had to change his music and revamp, and like you said, his comebacks. I was always a big like I always looked so forward to when wrestlers came back as well, because they came back slightly jacked, a little bit of new gear or whatever. And I remember when Undertaker obviously was cutting his hair for the American Badass and Dead Man kind of stint, and then he came back for Kane.
Yes.
Because they thought like Undertaker was dead. He's not alive. He's dead. He's dead. And then he came back and his hair was slightly shorter.
Yeah.
But you can see for the months that he's been away, he's been trying to regrow his hair. He stayed loyal to that hairstyle because even with his receding hairline, he was still sorry, Undertaker, man.
It happens, man. It happens.
It happens. You're not the only one. HBK, Triple H, you're there as well. But listen, man, Undertaker, like I said, I echo what you said and what I've just added to it. Like, he is one of the, if not arguably the greatest of all time. And I say that in the whole aspect of character. His character lasted from the start to the end. And like you said, at no point in time did we ever think to ourselves, oh man, Undertaker needs to. You didn't even ask for him to be a heel. You didn't ask for him to be a heel. You didn't ask for him to be a good. It was just as and when he decided to do things, you paid attention. This guy could have been crucifying Stephanie McMahon one week and then having jokes with Booker T the next week. So, man, he was respected by many in the wrestling industry. He was, I know that Roman Reigns was calling himself the big dog, but the Undertaker was the big dog. And you can see that when his career was obviously dwindling and he was getting to the latter stages. And then I don't think not many people, or if anybody really could have pulled off that WrestleMania that was, behind closed doors, and he had it with AJ Styles, that kind of movie style wrestling match, which for many people was thinking, what is this? But when you was watching it, you was captivated and you was thinking, this guy, they just had a wrestling match, but it was like a movie. We just watched a movie and you walked away from it not even caring. Like wrestling has slightly changed, or we're getting a different variation of how wrestling. We were just glued in to watch the Undertaker. And even now, if his music was just to play, I would still be tuned in. I know that he's not going to wrestle, but just to hear his music once again, this guy was the phenom, as you said, and he's definitely up there in my my picks of wrestlers. And he's my third, so I wouldn't even need to mention my third. So yeah, man, I'm in agreement with you as well.
All right, so that's the first for both of us.
Yeah,
right. I like it.
Cool. So fourth.
You know what? I've been thinking long and hard about this one, but I feel like the guy's done too much now for me to not give it to him anymore. It's Triple H.
Okay. Can I just, before you even get into that, you see the one when he busts up his legs or whatever, it was his knee or his thigh, came back from the long injury, that for about 8-9 months.
Yeah.
And he came back with the denim, leather. He was, that was Triple H for me. Anyway, you take it away.
Hey,
you got Triple H.
That's a beautiful start. I can't lie.
There you go.
The the guy's done too much for me to be like to not put him in there. It's bro. So, firstly, you talked about like the swagger. You talking about a guy. He comes out. You got the little smoke at the top with all the lights is shining, and you got his head down. You got long hair. See him holding a bottle of water. You're like, oh shit. I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah. Spitting the water, goes to the top rope, does this. You just see every muscle popping, monster. And then the music, D Generation X, 1, 2, it's a song.
Yeah, did the best part,
bro. To time to play the game.
Yeah.
To bow down to the.
Yeah,
bow
that's
down
free.
to
Yeah.
To evolution.
Ah. Damn.
Are you mad?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like he just has it. But the one thing that stands out for me is like even if he's just even his personal accolades aside, because that's even another discussion. Like his
I just spotted that there. We'll definitely come back to that. So just quickly, Joe D, shout out Joe D. Controversial, but I think that the Undertaker was overrated. Never had a great title run, not many great matches, and his only real great feud was Kane, but he had the look. All right, cool. We're gonna park that up, and we'll definitely come back to that because I can definitely rebuttal that. But yeah, man, shout out Joe, man.
I disagree, but hey, man. It's a word of opinions, man. Shout out Joe for that one as well. Shout out for Joe for watching as well.
Yeah,
my guy.
it.
Triple H, like, so I'll put his personal accolades aside for one moment. His influence on this business is ridiculous. You're talking about DX with Shawn Michaels, 2 legendary Hall of Famers, 2 game changers with a click as well. You know, with Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. You know, those 2 went to WCW. You have a few guys in WWE. Then you've got Evolution.
Oh, mate.
Where you've got
one of my favorite groups.
Oh, bro. And this is the thing about his influence is because obviously listening to all the interviews and the documentaries and all that, he had major influence on who was going to join that group. So you got him and Ric Flair. You got the guy who was the man, and now the guy who's currently the man. But you got Randy Orton that comes in, who's supposed to be the coal that turns into the diamond. And you've got this raw beast called Batista, who you just need to do something with and just unleash the animal. So you've got him influencing the business in that sense, because when you talk about Evolution as a whole, world title reigns as a collection, ridiculous, and even legacies as individuals, ridiculous. And then you've got the Authority, and I know the Authority had a lot of members in and out. Kane was in and out, Big Show was in and out. What's this guy's name? J&J Security did their things. But the Seth Rollins turn, and I feel like Triple H had a lot of influence in terms of like not only which member should to make the turn, but how Seth Rollins' career has turned out. Because thinking back to that, I did not think Seth Rollins would be the one to turn in that group. I honestly thought it'd be Roman Reigns because he's the monster. He's the big boy. You know, he's the guy who is looked at as the diamond. And Triple H will say, look, you got the look. You got everything here. You don't need these guys. Under my tutelage, I can make you a real monster, make you be a champion. And Dean Ambrose was like the wild card. You didn't really know much about him. Seth Rollins, I didn't think much about him at first, but that run with the Authority took him from me anyway, I don't know about everybody else, from the high flyer with a little bit of charisma that I remember from NXT to just a masterpiece of wrestling. He found his niche on the mic. He doesn't have to be a phenomenal talker, but he knows what to do on the mic. And the NXT, as I mentioned it, bro, that brand, yeah, AEW are trying very hard to copy that and they're not getting near it. Peak NXT is some of the best TV WWE has produced in ages, because you had like a perfect blend. Like you had your pure wrestlers, like your Johnny Garganos, you know, and then you had your characters that are coming through. Obviously, unfortunately, it's not happening for him anymore because he's done a lot of silly things. But Velveteen Dream, He
Oh
had this.
no, man. Yeah.
He had the look. He had the mic skills. He had the in-ring ability. Like he was the finished. He was the product. He was almost a complete package, you know. And then you had the guys that were great on the mic, not so great in the ring, but they could talk. Like, and then he also then got away from the whole certain look to be a champion kind of thing. Even though I didn't really believe in that, but I think there was still a ideology there with Vince McMahon, with Kevin Owens, you know, and even Adam Cole, because Adam Cole is not a big boy.
Adam Cole, baby.
You know, like look at what he did with that brand and the matches he was putting on, and he sold matches to the casual fan and the hardcore fan. That's a very difficult thing to do, and he found the perfect middle. So the casual fans were now watching NXT a lot more, but then also the hardcore fans were like, "Man, this show is must watch." And you had guys from TNA and all that doing sporadic appearances because they really wanted to be part of the project just to see what it's about and if it's worth it. His influence on this business is insane. So much so, if you look at AEW, for being honest, I'm looking back at like the wrestlers they've got now, because to be fair to them, for a company that's not been around that long, they're doing great numbers and they're doing quite well, right? But like Britt Baker was an NXT starter. Even the new champion they have right now, the girl, I forgot her name, but she was an NXT star as well in the UK, NXT UK.
Okay.
You know, Adam Cole is, you know, brand that way. Like his influence is now spread across.
Yeah, there's a
wrestling to the
lot of
point
people
now
that are
where
indebted to Triple H.
exactly so that when they leave, like when the so-called budget cuts were coming, not one person could have a bad word to say about Triple H. They were upset about losing their jobs, but they knew he had nothing to do with it. And it just got to the point where, on top of his individual accolades as a competitor, his influence in this business is.
He married well as well.
He married phenomenally. He married way phenomenally. Shout out. Hey, listen, Peak Stephanie, listen, goated.
Yeah,
So shout out him for that one as well. But no, he married wonderfully, and it wasn't. You can tell from now anyway. I don't ever believe it was a power play. I think the guy just loves that woman, and you can see it. They've got a great family. But yeah, no, I haven't even talked about what he's done in the ring. I haven't spoken about it. I've just said his influence. The guy is literally what wrestling is now.
I think when I think it's only fair to consider all aspects. So it's not just about the in-ring ability, it's also what they do, what they've brought to the game. So that as a package, as a whole, I think it's rightfully so for you to mention those things. You even mentioned his DX run as well. You know what I mean? So he's got that as well, DX, which just, you know, really brought to an era once again, like the Attitude Era, which was just degenerational, like just obscene stuff. But they were once again kind of Stone Cold esque, like because they were going against the McMahon and the boss, and you know, doing their own things and suck it and all that kind of stuff. You know, and really, and I think when Triple H, not Triple H, when Shawn Michaels was no longer, you know, part of DX, it was still, there was a big hole, a big void, because you got like a big character like HBK, but Triple H still managed to fill that hole and take DX to another level. And then obviously you've added the badass Billy Gunn and the Road Dogg Jesse James, X Pac, and China, RIP. Man, like, and for me, Triple H will always be like, that's an era where I'm like, that's Triple H. And then when he then became the game, that's what's it called. But once again, I think because these guys were mainly the Rock's rival, so my disdain and hate for them at the time was just like overshadowed and like the cloud of my judgment in terms of like my appreciation of them. But you know, and on a bit of side eye and looking, and you'd be like, nah, these guys are like, you know, the whole water, and you know, like you said, talking about the different types of wrestling songs they had, and it's all the package. And once again, this is a guy that you just, when you're watching him, this is Triple H. He's no longer Hunter Hearst Helmsley as well. Like, he managed to transition from that blue chipper as well. and then become Triple H and then the Game. And yeah, man, like he's definitely up there. It was close as well for me to have him, but I had to be honest with myself and be like, nah, he wouldn't quite make it into my list, but he's definitely a wrestler up there that I would definitely admire and stuff like that. Just before I get into my one, let's just go back to this comment because I want us to interact with Joe here and just go once again. So we both had Undertaker in our list and and then Joe has mentioned it. So once again, controversial, but I think that the Undertaker was overrated. Never had a great title run, not many great matches, and his only real great feud was Kane, but he had the look. Let me just start with this quickly, man, because my one ain't gonna be long. I think to say overrated, I honestly, I know it's opinion based, but I don't know how you can say that, man. This guy, it wasn't the phenom for no reason. Second, title runs, there's only so many champions you can really have in it. And Undertaker was beyond the title, I believe. He was literally beyond the title. Undertaker he had his own streak. Let's not forget that. He had his own streak, which means every WrestleMania, barring the latter stages, he was winning. Like when you went up against him in a WrestleMania, you just know that you're catching an L. But catching that L was a privilege to be able to go one-on-one with the Undertaker. So it was almost like, who's going to be the Undertaker's next dance partner for WrestleMania? And if you got called up for that, you have made it. Feuds. He had feuds with everyone.
Yeah.
To be able to go toe to toe and mix your wrestling styles and your characters and be able to tell good storylines with the likes of Stone Cold, The Rock, Triple H. We're not even talking about the golden era. He went up against your Hulk Hogan's, your Yokozunas, your like so many Ultimate Warrior. This guy transcended from the golden era, Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression, PG, Reality, to the point where we now know in his full name, Mark Holloway. You know what I'm saying? We know his wife. We know all of these things. He's gone through it, timeless, and he's been able to do his thing. So, man, it's your opinion, but yeah, man, I got to disagree with that.
So I think Joe says like when Joe said again, he said he meant overrated in context to top 5, but he's still a staker. No, you know what?
Okay.
I hear it. It's so top 5 is up for debate, regardless. Like if I think it's not part of your top 5, that's absolutely fine. That's not a big deal. I think for me and Dash, it's very difficult to leave him out because, well, we've spoken about it really, how it feels for us essentially. You know what I mean? So, like, it's a difficult one. We will we'll obviously debate back with the great matches and that because, I mean, for my memory of Undertaker, I remember obviously like you said with Kane, for example, of course, but Shawn Michaels, obviously, Triple H, obviously, Edge, Batista, the Mark Henry feud is very underrated.
Yeah,
for me, in my opinion. JBL as well.
That was a good feud.
One, so there are quite a few in my opinion. But look, this is what the top 5 is. It's an opinion thing, because I've got like Brock Lesnar in mine, and Dash probably won't have Brock Lesnar in his, and that's okay. Yeah, you know so that's absolutely fine. Same way, like he has Stone Cold in his. Stone Cold's not going to be in mine just because I'm trying to slightly make it a bit different, but Stone Cold would be in mine. So we agreed, we do agree there. But there could be somewhere, maybe you would mention like 5, and I'd say, hey, I don't agree with that guy, but it's what it is. So yeah, man. No, but shout out you, man, regardless, because
Joe, man. All right, cool. Let's push on. My 4th. So the way I worked it out, I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna bring my Attitude Era. And this is going to be slightly kind of telling my age a little bit, but I'm going to my golden era as well. Growing up, I was a big, massive Bret the Hitman Hart fan. And I'm putting him in my list because of just, once again, just growing up and just being able to hear the music. Coming down to the ring when he used to shake his glasses. And then he was just obviously the excellence of execution in it. He was what I would say different from the wrestlers that I've picked. He was more of a technical wrestler. I've got to have a technical wrestler in there. The sharpshooter, if you are a wrestling head at one point in your life or many occasions, you've applied a sharpshooter to somebody, whether it's in school, your siblings, whoever it is, you've applied a sharpshooter. And the only way you're doing things like that is if someone makes you feel and believe like when you put this move on someone, it's going to hurt them. And believe you me, that move was real. That move was real. But I believe like being a smaller guy as well, in that golden era where you had the likes of like your Hulk Hogan's, your Macho Man Randy Savage, the Ultimate Warriors, and all that kind of stuff. And then Bret Hart was obviously emerging and then becoming the champion that he was. The feuds that he had with HBK, Shawn Michaels. Let's not even forget about the Montreal screw job. That in itself, then you got the Hart Foundation, the group. He's beef with his own brother Owen Hart, God rest his soul. But yeah, I think it's more why I'm picking. Once again, he probably might not be in many other people's top 5, but for me and how I felt about wrestling at that particular time and the wrestler that I really, when I think about my childhood, the one wrestlers or the few wrestlers that I thought to myself, nah, these are my favorite wrestlers, was Bret Hart.
Bret Hart. I mean, I didn't get to see much of Bret Hart, obviously, after I wasn't watching as much wrestling as I could have as a kid when the screw job happened. Or I remember I told you anyway, I was much more involved in WCW. So I didn't really see. For him, it's more videos for me rather than actual watching. But from what I saw, technical excellence. Probably the best, maybe. I mean, it's obviously up for debate, but definitely one of.
Yeah, definitely one of.
For sure. And the one thing that does stand out for me was that match with Stone Cold. So, because that's the one where they did that double sort of, what's it called? Double turn.
Yeah.
One went heel, one became good because of how the match was delivered as well. And he was great at that as well, actually, because this is the guy that could go up to a kid and give him the sunglasses and then turn it away from the kid and just become one of the nastiest men on the planet.
Yeah, he was weird that way. He wasn't, he's like, he was a face, but it wasn't a bait face. And it wasn't like he was a bait heel. It was just like, he was just about business. Like, so once he got in the ring, he just wanted to show you that he was the excellent of execution and he's about business. So yeah, definitely.
I hear that.
So we got to your number 5.
I've been thinking about this, and the reason I'm struggling with this one is because I'm struggling between a wrestler in terms of so 2 wrestlers and a manager.
Okay, all right, I like this. Come on.
I'm struggling between
switch it up.
A male, female, and Paul Heyman.
Drum roll.
So, okay, the female I have in mind, she's not going to be part of my top 5 now that I'm thinking about it, but the female I have in mind, funnily enough, I know many people, in fact, hardly anyone's going to have this unless you're a stan. Sasha Banks. Now,
okay,
this is a very controversial one, very, very controversial, but she's not my part of my top 5, so I'm just going to, there's not much for me to defend here because she's not making it. It is what it is, but it's like
the disclaimer.
Yeah, this disclaimer, but she is, for me, other than it's a tough one because there's a lot of great wrestlers in the past as well, but I didn't get to see your May Youngs. I didn't get to see much of China, so I can't really
Mm.
put them. It's sort of like when I talk about football and they say, but you can't not put Pele in there. Unfortunately, I
Yeah, you
wasn't
wasn't
born in the
what's yeah, you
70s,
wasn't around.
so I can't talk about Pele. I can go off videos and that, but you know me, I like to see guys in action on a 90-minute basis. And I know people will be like, "Are you putting her over Lita and Trish?"
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
the reason why I feel like I would is because one, I believe that she's a better wrestler. I believe she has an incredible character. And don't get me wrong, when she came to the main roster just as the boss, it was great in the NXT, but the delivery in the main roster was a bit, it was
The
missing
cheese.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she had that Hilton. That Hilton changed everything. It changed everything. Like she went from the boss but nice girl to the boss who, whether she's a good guy or a bad guy kind of thing, she knows exactly who she is and you can't tell her shit.
Mm.
And she changed it. By the way, she's not making it, so that's that. I'm gonna go Paul Heyman, man. I'm going Paul Heyman.
Okay, I know the thing about I'm not surprised by this with you, so you just take it away. Paul Heyman.
Paul Heyman's my greatest manager, advocate, special counsel ever. Ever. the guy is the guy's story is incredible in terms of how he made it in the business, just be as a photographer first, before becoming a manager, and what he did with ECW. I don't think a lot of people to this day, I feel like, don't really understand what ECW was about. I know it was extremely violent, crazy stipulations, crazy matches, but there was something special about ECW. There was something that just grabbed your attention to the point where you'd watch the bigger shows and you'd hear a chant about ECW, despite and the fact at the time, before obviously the whole faction stuff happened in WWE or WWF at the time, you didn't have anything to talk about ECW wise in these other companies, apart from maybe them taking wrestlers from them, because obviously wrestlers move from company to company.
Mm.
But his influence in terms of who he worked with Undertaker before he was Undertaker. And he also worked with Undertaker, the character, in WWE. Brock Lesnar, the less said the better, to be honest, because I don't really have to go into detail about that one. Even the aforementioned CM Punk.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, that
Even
short
him
stint
as
with
well.
CM Punk.
And also, he had a huge influence in bringing Lucha Libre to American TV.
Okay.
The Mexican wrestling style, with Eddie Guerrero and Super Crazy Psychosis.
Mm.
There's a third member. I swear there's a third member. I keep forgetting a third member. I'm sure there's a third
Um,
member of that team. But, or was there?
is it
I
not
can't remember.
Juventud? Is it Juventud?
It might be Juventud. It might be. I'm not sure. But regardless, like, he had an influence in bringing a different style and a different edge of wrestling to, you know, American television before obviously Eddie went to WCW. As did Ray as well. Actually, Mysterio was an ECW original as well.
Mm.
And you're talking about Benoit, who was loved in ECW as well. Like his influence in the wrestling style, and also today, that's what I was talking about Triple H, in terms of the kind of matches that you're seeing now. He was having them done at his time in ECW.
Yeah.
Um, and now I'll say more than ever, he's played a part in two of the biggest moments in wrestling history, not just company history, wrestling history. This run with Roman Reigns and the ending of the streak. His
I agree.
legacy, his legacy is clear. We had Bobby the Brain Heenan. You had many other managers. I don't think any come close. I know that Mount Rushmore usually just contains wrestlers, but you can contain the promoters as well, and you can add them. And I know,
Bro, this is for us. We dictate what we want to do here.
I like that. I like that. And I think when you talk about promoters, I know for a fact people will be like, well, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, but listen, that's all well and nice. But the fact is, that man, Paul Heyman, I just run out of words to describe him. And it's his delivery as well. He's just as good as a wrestler at delivering stories, promos, um, in ring action. I know, not in terms of like getting in the ring and doing physical stuff, but you know, the match against Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, where Brock Lesnar got speared and he's outside the ring going, "No, Brock, no, don't tell it right now." Just it's those little things. It's the little things that add to it, bro. We talked about it earlier. It's entertainment. I'm here to be entertained. This is a desperate loss that Brock Lesnar cannot take because he lost the first bout when they both left WWE. Goldberg's been away a long time. Brock Lesnar's come back. He's broken streaks. He's had incredible title runs. And then this old gunslinger's coming back to try and go to war with this guy who's in the peak of his career. And it's like, you can't take on this Brock Lesnar. There's no way. And he's delivering it every week on the mic. You know, Brock Lesnar doesn't have to even talk. It's him and Goldberg going toe-to-toe on the mic. And he's delivering such a story. And then out of nowhere, Brock Lesnar's getting beat, and Paul Heyman is selling it like it's like someone stolen his wife from him or something. It's just you know. But then the one thing that he does as well so great is when he does his little talks for other like channels, you know, as an interview and all that. You go for an evening with Paul Heyman, and a fan will ask him, why did Goldberg beat Brock Lesnar? Goldberg's not wrestling anymore. He's been away for years. How does it make sense? And the guy can speak for 2 minutes, and suddenly you're just like, yeah, man, you're right.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
it.
Why was he the one to end the streak? And I know to this day, a lot of people will know, still not accept that Brock Lesnar should have broken the streak. Even me, I was happy that Brock Lesnar broke the streak because I feel like in terms of legitimacy, he makes the most sense. But of course, if you're talking about characters or guys that could have done. I mean, CM Punk had an amazing run as champion, so him going to the Undertaker, it was feasible that maybe he could be the one to end the streak. Yeah. Bray Wyatt being the so-called next sort of Undertaker coming through, you know, maybe it worked for him. Roman Reigns, maybe they should have waited for him to be the next guy.
Or even HBK as being Mr. WrestleMania as well.
Exactly, so, you know. So you know it's just there's so many people that you could have they mentioned, but he broke the streak. The next Raw, they got booed in and they got cheered out because Paul Heyman spoke for 5 minutes and basically scored them,
convinced everybody that this
and was everything, and brought them into reality as well, and told them, you don't like this, it's too real for you. Like, I'm telling you what it is, and you're gonna have to digest it, and take it in and really know what's going on here. And then he can go on years later, and now we get to the point where people are like, I'm not mad at Brock Lesnar losing, beating the streak afterwards. It is what it is. I think the guy is just he's a phenomenon that I don't think we'll ever see again, because people are not trying to do wrestlers anymore, managers anymore, or as well as him.
Right.
But because I don't think anyone can come close to what he's done, and I don't think anyone knows how to either. Wrestling is a scripted business. You're given the script most of the time. I know in AEW they say it's more creative freedom, but I don't think anyone has the charisma, has the sort of on the feet knowledge of things to just say things off the top of the head for it to make sense. You know, his delivery in everything that he does is just top notch, and
it shows, like, as you mentioned, like, you know, he's had so many different characters that he's worked with, and he's always excelled in each wrestler. Then you got someone like MVP who's showed very good work with Hurt Business, but then go into another wrestler, it's not kind of worked. But with Paul Heyman, anytime he's with someone, it bangs, regardless of how long or short he's with that wrestler. So yeah, man. Yeah, he's definitely. I like that. I actually like the fact that you brought you put a little twist on it. So not just wrestlers, it could be just anybody that's involved in the wrestling industry. That's sick, man. I like that. All right. This one, I'm gonna make it quite quick because it's gonna be quite controversial, and I'm gonna explain why it's gonna be controversial. My last pick, number 5, is the immortal Hulk Hogan.
I had a feeling you were gonna
Now,
say this guy.
Hulk Hogan, growing up, he was what many people would say now that they identify and understand as like a John Cena. Well, he was Cena before Cena. He was the original John Cena, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
transcended movies, films, films, rappers, singers, everybody he was in the mainstream. He's the one that was headlining the early WrestleManias. He had all the celebrity friends, your Mr. T's, he was in Rocky. This guy, even if he was in Africa, you know who Hulk Hogan is. Ilk. That's what my country, that's what they call it. Ilk. Yeah, Hulk Hogan. I was that little kid that used to cut in holes at the top of my plastic bags, shopping bags, put it over rip some holes through the arms, and then rip the plastic bag like it was Hulk Hogan's vest.
I rate it. I rate it.
I was the little kid that basically witnessed Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior fighting. And when Ultimate Warrior beat Hulk Hogan, tears, Kojo, tears were streaming from my face. I've only cried twice over sporting, events. Hulk Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan losing. Mike Tyson losing to James Buster Douglas. Those are only 2 times I've cried over a sporting event. And that's how much I felt like wrestling was so real them days. And that's why I have to put Hulk Hogan in my top 5, because when I was growing up at that particular time, I felt that's all I knew. I knew that I thought wrestling was real. So watching this guy, this was the guy that I knew. This is wrestling. When you think about wrestling, it's Hulk Hogan. Now, the reason why I said it's controversial, as much as sometimes your idols and sporting people that you look up to and stuff like that, we can't shy away from the controversial stuff that had him, excluded from the WWE, and that was based on the racist remarks that he made. He, using the N-word.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I can't lie, that left a really, really bad taste in regards to someone that you look up to, and you're watching in a place of entertainment, and then you're hearing in their personal life they're out here just being out here racist and stuff like that. So with that, I know that obviously WWE have given him the redemption and brought him back, and people are kind of sweeping it under the carpet. For me, he would be in my top 5, but now I have to exclude him from my top 5 due to a technicality. So my top 5 is a top 4, but if it wasn't because of that, he definitely would be in it. I can't shy away because that was my guy growing up. Hulk Hogan was my number 1 guy, and that was wrestling for me. Hulk Hogan was wrestling for me, but I got to stand strong with my convictions. And with that being said, Hulk Hogan does not remain in my top 5, but yeah, that's how it would run if I had my top 5.
It's a sticky one, man, because if I'm being brutally honest, I can't believe I'm saying this, but if I'm being brutally honest, the guy's legacy as a, like, in terms of, you're talking about influence, you're spot on. Everything you said is spot on. He's still a huge name now.
He's still a huge name now.
If
his music hits tomorrow, massive pop.
Yeah. You know exactly who he is. And even now, even if it's boos, it's still a reaction. This is what we've been told now, isn't it? It's about whether you get cheered or booed, you're getting a reaction at the crowd. That's what you want.
Yeah, he was large. He was large and alive. We're talking about ice creams. We're talking about cereals. We're talking about merchandise. This guy literally carried in an era of wrestling, definitely brought the pop culture to it. like I said, you know, WrestleManias, you've got like all of these different celebrities during WrestleMania, and it's all because of Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
And there was a period of time he definitely, obviously, it came to an end in regards to the when he moved to WCW, and then he's become Hollywood Hogan. Um, you know, that other side of him as well is man. This guy was a great. He was a great. And
Yeah.
it's a bit. I don't want to say it's tongue in cheek. Me saying that, oh, he's out of my list. He is definitely out of my list, but I just can't deny what a great wrestler he was, and his heel change is still to date probably the best heel turn in wrestling history. Whether it's WCW, whether it's WWE, his heel turn was the greatest because nobody saw it coming in WCW. Him turning on, you know, turning and joining the Outsiders, and then you've got the NWO. You know, yeah,
Oh,
man. Then you got the
nice
Wolf
thing.
Pack, and then listen, Hulk Hogan, he was definitely the man. But Hulk Hogan, you're out of my list, man. You're out of my list.
It sucks, man,
Yeah,
because you
out
actually
of my
got
list.
someone who's an actual game changer, like a genuine game changer,
Yeah,
and he fumbled the bag, man. He
yeah.
actually just fumbled the bag. It's that
Due to
simple. It's
controversy.
that
But you know,
simple.
WWE felt the need to forgive him and gave him redemption and gave him an opportunity to kind of what's it called. But um, it was a for me. It was a almost. I was disappointed with WWE because I just felt like, yes, I know that I understand that people need second chances and all that kind of stuff, but I just felt like um, how they did it was just more like a sweeping it under the carpet, and you didn't really hear much from WWE kind of
Yeah.
really like going at him and really, you know, showing the people that they didn't really stand for
But
what he said. But yeah.
you know what it is? It's well, I don't. It's not a sticky one at all. But WWE do this thing where, and I get it because it's actually true. People forget.
Yeah,
People
that's
move
exactly
fast,
it. People do
and
forget.
he was. I think he was kicked out of the Hall of Fame after those recordings came out. His signature was moved from the thing
Yeah.
at the beginning of the WWE show, the intro, and then you've gone from that to him and Titus O'Neil hosting the comeback WrestleMania after lockdown and everything. Like, whether people like to admit it or not, they just forget these things and they go past it. And I'm not saying you should hold on to it because that is a grudge, and I don't think anyone lives happy if they just hold on to things and just grasp onto it. But it's a weird one. Like, you cannot complain if you think like they will not bring him back in if they thought that the pressure was still on, kind of
Yeah,
thing. And
nah. He bust case in it in terms of like his time away from WWE, and when you've got a big machine like that endorsing you and they're showing like, okay, we're getting past that. The show continues in it, and like you said, people forget. But it's more of in a sense just to kind of just show like, look, man, yeah, you've been great throughout your career, but just to know, for what you said, it didn't go unnoticed, and we don't forget literally in that sense.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, man. Hey, man, that top five was good. I like that, man. I like that. Just quickly, just touching on, just conscious obviously of time. We won't go through like the whole SmackDown and Raw, but what I want to just bring and just to link it in nicely with Survivor Series, which is, as you kindly reminded me before we started, it is going to be this Saturday. So if you
Yes,
don't
sir.
know, Survivor Series is one of the main events throughout the year. You got Survivor Series, you got WrestleMania, sorry, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam. That's the sequence throughout the years. Those are the big four hitters, and then you got all the other shows in between. So we're one of the big shows, Survivor Series, and that's usually 4v4. Is it 4v4s? Have they increased
Five
it
on
now?
five. Five on
Five
five.
and five, 4v4, 5 and 5. and now they're mixing it up with war games, which is not only are you fighting amongst the teams, and it's based on an elimination process. If you lose, you're out. Now it's going to be in 2 rings. 2 rings with cage round it, all of that kind of stuff. So this is going to be sick. Now, the main, I reckon, I don't know if you agree with this, but the main team event during or upcoming for Survivor Series, and we can see the build up for it, is the Bloodline versus Sheamus. Then you've got who else? Sheamus, you've got Drew McIntyre, and then Sheamus
and Rich Holland.
Yeah, Sheamus's lackeys. I'll just call him
that.
It's a nice little build up, because at first I thought like, oh, they've just thrown this quickly, but I think there's enough in the elements and the dynamics for it to work, because you still got the old grudge beef between Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns. Obviously, Roman Reigns is going to have beef with everybody because he's literally just battered everyone. You've got obviously Sheamus. He's former heavyweight champion, so within his right to be in that group. Then we had the return of KO, Kevin Owens, who's still till this time. I really hates.
Are you not buying into him? You're not buying into him?
His overuse of the stunner is just, it grinds my gears, man.
If I say Triple H, but Stone Cold gave him permission, didn't he?
I know. At first, I didn't think he did, but that's probably for another time. So we've got a really good team. So obviously on Sheamus' side, you got Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, KO, and then Sheamus's lackeys. Then you've got Roman Reigns, the Bloodline. That's made up of Jimmy and Jey Uso. You got Sami Zayn, Sami Uso, Usi, and then we got Solo also involved, who's got his grudge with Drew McIntyre as well. So it definitely works. Let me know how you're feeling about this, and anything that you can take from that you took from SmackDown and Raw as well, leading into Survivor Series.
Well, I think the build is a lot better than it would have been in the past. Getting used to or ready for a traditional 5-on-5, the way it was anyway beforehand, it got very, very. I don't like using the word stale, but that's the word I can think of, because the build up became very predictable. So you had what Vince McMahon was doing before. Now with Triple H, the first immediate thing is War Games, and what it does with War Games, what you've done is like you've opened up a new canvas to a whole new match of anything can happen. Because anyone that's watched Triple H's version of War Games in NXT, it's different weapons, surprise entrances, chaotic moments in matches where people are getting slammed off the top of the cage. Io Sky, now as she's known as Io Sky rather than Io Shirai, she put a bin over her because she's quite small. So her thighs, from her head to her thighs, and she flung herself off the top of the cage. Like, you're gonna get
I've seen that.
You're gonna get moments. And I think with the Bloodline first, it's a new match for Roman. I know he's been in cage matches, he's been in Hell in a Cell, but this is different. You've got 2 rings inside a wham cage. Like, this is very different. I think it suits the Usos very well. I think it fits someone like Pete Dunne, Butch really well, because I think he's been part of one before, actually, or 2. So he's got experience. Sheamus and Drew McIntyre just like war in general. You can tell they're just kind of guys who, I mean, I know Drew McIntyre is a Rangers fan, so I feel like he was one of those guys back in the day where if it was a old firm derby and 2 men were fighting, he'd just be there with a beer saying, "Yeah, get him, kick his ass." Like, really back in the beef. You know what I'm saying? And even Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is a wild card because his history in wrestling is violent anyway. as Kevin Steen, as himself. So
fight Owens fight.
Exactly. So you got a lot of possibilities here. I think it's got the makings to be one hell of a match. I still think the Bloodline wins.
Yeah.
But I think it's not going to be won by Roman or Sammy.
Okay. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Is it maybe they give Solo a little bit of an added push once again?
I think Jey Uso is going to win it, and I think there's got it because they've been doing that little sort of. I know they're tending to this Usi thing, but I think they're going to do a little of an angle where he's starting to get a bit too big for his boots.
Oh, okay.
And he's gonna be like, I won that match, not Roman, kind of thing. I feel like he's gonna, start to try and get big again and try and challenge again. Because before that whole funny moment with Sami Zayn where he started saying Usi and all that, when
I
Jay
don't give a damn about what the
yeah, he turned around to Roman and he looked pumped up. He didn't look like, oh shit, sorry, I didn't need to say that. He sort of looked like, I said
but
that
then second shortly afterwards.
Exactly, by Sammy. Sammy sort of came in like, come on, he didn't mean that. And he's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I didn't mean it, kind of thing. But I feel like there's a part of him that still wants to, try and get at Roman because he feels there's more to it. That's what I'm thinking.
You're right. You're right. I'm seeing the vision because you remember when we were speaking about like if it is a case where The Rock is going to be making his return and this, alleged match that they're going to be having. We was talking about what angles could we see happening. And if it is a case where you say Jey Uso is challenging Roman Reigns and then there is a slight split from the bloodline, it would only that would be a nice angle then to be like The Rock comes in to maybe try to see if he can create peace or whatever, and then he has there has to be some entrance point for The Rock in it. Like, so if it is a case where you're saying, I like this angle that you're talking about as well, like, this Jey Uso challenging Roman Reigns, which he's done before at the beginning. And obviously Roman Reigns dealt with him and put the fear of God in him. And he fell in line. But knowing that he is the right-hand man and now trying to challenge Roman, okay. Yeah.
It might not even be a match. It's just challenging the position in the family. Like that is enough for Roman to be like, hey, what do you think this is?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't think Kevin Owens loses either. I think, call me crazy, but I think Kevin Owens wins the Royal Rumble.
Oh, you going there?
I'm going that far. I'm going that far. I know we're not even near it yet, but I have a feeling. That the prize fighter is going to get some prizes at WrestleMania. You know what I'm saying? You get my drift. Hey, speculation.
No, because if he could look strong. So Royal Rumble, then you got Elimination Chamber, which is one more chance. Man, there are some potentials for Royal Rumble, but KO could. Okay, we're going to jot this down. We're going to jot this down. Let's see what Joe's saying here. Quick one. I reckon Drew pins Roman in the final two with Jey costing the bloodline the win. Oh, so you think that Drew McIntyre, Sheamus's team is going to win, and that might cause more conflict in the group. So are we? Is it safe to say that we believe that this could be now on a downward curve for the bloodline? Are we saying that
that's what I'm saying? Yeah,
there's an unraveling, there's potential for that scope?
That's what I'm saying.
Because how long can this this hot streak go on for, man? Eventually,
I think Roman if he doesn't lose at this Mania, I don't know when he loses. I think this Mania has to
What's
be
his,
it.
what's his current record right now? How close is he to the all-time?
As in consecutive days.
Yeah. So like basically holding the title. I think is he not like fourth on the list right now?
Yeah, but Bruno Sammartino held it for 2000 and something days, so he ain't
Oh
getting near
no,
that.
no.
If they do that, if they do that, I don't know what they can do for this guy, but I don't see it
Uh,
happening. So yeah, but I think if my math is correct, he'd probably get to the 1,000 mark come WrestleMania.
wow.
And if he does that, I think that's a perfect way to stop it, in my opinion. Even if it's not directly on 1,000 days, if you get above it, I think perfect. 1,000 days plus as champion, and you end the streak there.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Roman Reigns is currently on 810 days. I don't know
Okay.
I don't know how recent this is. But yeah, that's basically 810 days. So I'm just trying to check here. Yeah, if people obviously know, just to make sure that obviously you chime in and let us know as well. But yeah, that's Roman Reigns. If you know like who's got the longest wrestling WWE streak or consecutive champion, let us know, man. Put it in the comment section and then we'll double check it as well, man. Because I'm just thinking of that angle as well. Would they might try to reach for him to have the longest reign before they start unraveling things. But it's going to be interesting to see the Survivor Series. I'm actually looking forward to the War Games aspects. I'm a big, massive fan of Survivor Series as it is because it always gives you that opportunity to get like them dream team kind of matches. Almost feel like a basketball kind of dream team. You got your LeBron James and your Steph Currys in the same teams and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it brings all. The other day I was seeing it on Instagram. I saw like who did I see? Legion of Doom, Ultimate Warrior, and Texas Tornado. That was a team.
Yeah.
So imagine, and that was against the Nasty Boys and them man there. So it's like old school Survivor Series right there. So man, I'm looking forward to that, man. I'm looking forward to it. So once again, guys, that's gonna be this Saturday. But before we get to WrestleMania Friday, don't forget the SmackDown. So if you like your SmackDown and you want the opportunity to kind of catch up and get to grips with what the storyline is all about, I'm sure that WWE are great at giving you like the recaps, and it's like watching EastEnders, man. Like I always say, it's like watching EastEnders. You might not watch EastEnders for the longest time. Just watch one episode. You know who's sleeping with who. You know who's a drunk. You know who's the crackhead. You know who's the. You know everything about the character, so they'll probably give you an update recap of what's going on, and then Saturday will be Survivor Series, and then after Survivor Series, then we've got Raw, and that's when myself and Kojo will be back. Let's say we'll be back next week Wednesday, and then just obviously give you our recap and review of SmackDown, Survivor Series, Raw, and then let's see if our somewhat predictions will come true. We've got Joe D in the comment section here. He was saying that basically he feels like Drew McIntyre and his team are going to win. Kojo feels that it's going to be the Bloodline, Jey Uso being responsible for the win, and that's giving him a chest to kind of flex towards Roman Reigns. I was gonna say Sami Zayn, but I'm gonna scrap that because I actually like what Kojo said, and I believe that if it is something as controversial as that, or something that is as creative as that, and then just kind of leaves a little bit of a wrench and needle within the group, I feel like the group needs this at the moment just to kind of see what direction they want to go. Let me just add this, my last comment about the Bloodline.
Go on.
This is sometimes my gripe with wrestling nowadays. It's just like once you start becoming very popular, it's like you just become a heel. Like you become a face. Like you have no control on becoming a face. And you can see now Roman Reigns with the Uzi, and he's smiling a lot more and he's joking and stuff like that. And I guess it's just a natural transition within the character, but I long to see Roman Reigns go back to the absolute ruthless Roman Reigns, and maybe it might take another, Jey Uso kind of trying to challenge the head of the table once again, and then maybe flexing his muscle to just impose that fear once again in the group.
Do you think? Because I agree, I agree, and also kind of not disagree, but because I'm kind of enjoying this Roman right now, even though when he came back and did the whole wreck everybody and leave sort of phase, that was monstrous. Man was powerbombing people outside the ring. It was great. It was great TV. But I feel like, do you think it will take? Obviously, if he loses the title, he's gonna be pissed off. That's what should happen. He won't walk out with a smile on his face. He'll be angry. But that's why I'm posing this family thing, because I'm thinking, if someone steps out of line, like, that looks disrespectful to the family. And if he can't get it in check, won't others question him? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It'd be like, Jey Uso's moving mad. Okay, I'm gonna G-check him. Fails. So the squad looks at him like, yo, what's happening, boss? Why are you not able to do this? Then Kevin Owens will come out and talk his rubbish and say something. Hey, is this your king? Is this your guy? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many possibilities. I feel like they can get to that. Whether they want to do it, hey, that's another question. But who knows? But I'm excited to see it, because I think we're in for a winner. I think there's going to be something great here, and I trust Triple H to give us something creatively brilliant on this one. Anyway.
Oh my gosh! Listen, we can talk about wrestling until the cows come home, but we'll save it for the next episode, guys. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, and just join in, man. Like, me and Kojo, we are like just normal wrestling heads. Not trying to come and give you data and all that kind of stuff. As you can see, man, we're even looking on our phones to get the information that we need. But like, if you ever want to talk wrestling, hit us up on our socials. You can find me on A Dash of Sports. That's on all social platforms, Instagram, Twitter. Kojo, where can they find you?
Kojo Free Midfield. I should probably change that. It's supposed to be at Kojo Free Midfield.
Okay,
that's my personal. So follow me on that one.
Yeah, man. So you can find us. So yeah, if you pop us any questions, like, and then when we come onto the platform here in the show, we can talk about it. You can join in, have a conversation with us. Yeah, man. If you want to give us your top ranking wrestlers, or you've got anything from this show you want to kind of chime in with, let us know, man. We'll talk about it. But until the next time here on Do You Still Watch Wrestling with myself, Dashiki Dash and Kojo. Until next week, peace.